What's she doing out there in the harbor, huh? What's she looking at? That's what I'd like to know. How does this whole system work? What makes it go round? Isn't that why we go to school, read the newspapers, throw the I Ching, find out how the system works? That's what we want to know. Well, I'll tell you, poor people are what make the system work. Poverty is the fuel. Without poverty, nothing would go round. Poor people are the root, and prosperity is the blossom.
America. Merrill Lynch is bullish on America.
Naturally. The way the bread is cut, the top 2% of the country owns 80% of the stock, 90% of the bonds, and 100% of those wonderful tax-free bonds, while 50 million Americans live in poverty or at the edge. Sure, eating lead paint and sleeping with cockroaches is a hardship, but you've got to keep the pressure on the poor, keep them off balance, make them thankful for whatever does come their way. I mean, would you be willing to do all of the crummy, scurvy, crappy, boring, nothing kind of work that has to be done? We want interesting, challenging work, right? Work with a future. But then what about the laundries and the automats and the pocketbook factories and the mental institutions and the strip mines and the sweatshops? Who's going to do all the pushing and pulling and sweeping and cleaning? Well, if you've lived in a slum, it helps you develop that healthy mental attitude toward failure. Defeat seeps into your system by osmosis.
Well, you see, I didn't finish high school. Well, really, anyway, I want to be a TV star. But this job here at Woolworths really ain't so bad. I mean, I just couldn't concentrate in high school. I mean, I like to think about nice things, but there was always trouble in our school. Drugs, fights, stealing, all the regular stuff. But don't get me wrong, I am definitely bullish on our type of political economy, despite the fact that I have been rather definitely fucked over.
Now get this, 1/3 of the workforce in New York City makes less than $100 a week. That's 1 million men and women, although a lot of them are illegal immigrants. Christ, the whole town runs on their backs. They're subsidizing us. If they got a living wage, half of the businesses in this town would fold. Finito.
I mean, look at the World Trade Center, Rockefeller's pyramids. Without the deprived, we couldn't have that kind of depravity. I'm telling you, the 50 million poor people in this country are the rock and the foundation on which it's built. And if you think anybody's going to tamper with that, you're sadly mistaken. They are like electricity. They keep things running.
And of course, it's not just the local yokels. We've got this wonderful device for zapping the poor folks overseas. It's called the multinational corporation. It taps 12-year-olds in textile factories in South Korea, old ladies in Taiwan, folks in Puerto Rico and Mexico and the Persian Gulf, etc., etc.
You have a friend at Chase Manhattan.
But let's not be too hard on big business. Us educated folks, us academics, we get part of the take also. Did you ever stop to think how many poverty professionals there are? Teaching in the social work schools, running the service agencies, administering the training programs, examining the grant applications?
I have this wonderful job working with drug addicts and delinquents and ex-convicts, really all of the victims. It's a real challenge, and we're not afraid to experiment when it comes to helping them. We're very creative, We've used, my dear, puppets, primal screaming, TM, transcendental meditation, and role-playing, sensitivity sessions. And if our budget were only bigger, I think I'd introduce natural foods.
Christ, keeping the poor poor and then catering to them is a basic American industry, much bigger than General Motors or IBM. If everybody had a job and got a decent wage, don't you see what would happen? You'd knock the bottom out of the prison reform business, the social work industry would go bankrupt, and police forces would have to be cut back. And you'd absolutely destroy documentary filmmaking and bleeding heart journalism.
That happy hooker gets book contracts, and all I get is busted. It costs $10,000 to keep a girl in the slam for a year. Why don't they just give me the $10,000 and I would go around the world?
And remember, poverty is also vital to the military-industrial complex. Our national defense depends on black lung, Appalachia, Harlem, and lousy wages. Otherwise, the Pentagon couldn't get anybody to enlist in their volunteer army. How many of you guys are planning to serve?
The world's greatest patients deserve the world's greatest nurses. If you're a nurse, see your Army recruiter.
Don't you see it? Full employment is a menace. Not just for the generals in the Pentagon, but for this whole screwed-up economic system. When there are plenty of jobs, you have some bargaining power. If you don't like the way they are treating you, you can get another job. So, with full employment, you can ask for higher wages and better working conditions, and being fired then isn't so tragic. Most employers have a natural prejudice against this situation. That's why the wizards up at the top say the economy works best with 6 or 8 million unemployed. Kind of a subtle reminder to the folks on the job to behave themselves.
My credentials? I'm a journalist. But what the hell have credentials got to do with it anyway? Haven't we had it up to here from the folks with credentials? I mean, now they're going to start feeding us synthetic proteins made out of old automobile tires and wood chips because of the high price of beef. I mean, credentials are nothing but a license to lie. Just wait a little while. Have patience. Soon there will be a fairer distribution of wealth in America. The poor will get a better break. My fellow Americans, forget it. That's not the way the system works.
But hell, economics isn't everything. There's the heart and the spirit. And the poor are an enormous force for good here. They boost our morale. Ego, baby. Ego, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Ego. We look down at the clowns, the jokers, the schlemiels, the losers, and we get that great up feeling. We know we are superior. And hail to the poor. They make the mighty and the wealthy, the tycoons and the titans, feel even better. Without poverty, they could not have their philanthropy. No charity balls, no foundations to fund wonderful humanitarian projects. If the poor weren't there to fiddle and fondle with, how would we know what wonderful folks are up there in the driver's seat? Why look at the seamy side of ITT in Chile, or how it connived with the Justice Department, or fed old Dita Beard to the shredder? Look instead at the sunny side. Doesn't ITT sponsor the Little League in Puerto Rico and give scholarships to the Navajo Indians and hire the handicapped and train blacks in Newark? Doesn't it down deep really have a conscience? Doesn't our system itself have a conscience? Aren't we giving the poor every opportunity to bootstrap it? Aren't we giving the poor every opportunity to bootstrap it? Aren't we giving the poor every opportunity to bootstrap it? Aren't we trying to boost the minimum wage? And didn't they just raise Social Security? And now they're talking about a national health insurance plan. I mean, what the hell do they want? If you make it too easy for the poor people, who's gonna live in the slums and do all the shit work and fight in the army and keep our country safe and strong? Who's gonna do it? Not me, baby, and not you.
So, fellow truth seekers, I say God bless our 50 million poor. Without their enormous sacrifice, their sickness, their shorter lifespan, their higher incidence of mental illness and joblessness, without their wonderful patience and passivity, without all that sacrifice, the rest of us would be worse off. That's the way things work, That's the way the eagle shits.